All right, everybody. Thanks for coming today. The format will be an opening statement from Coach Holbrook, and then we'll take questions for student athletes and coach. We're joined today by South Carolina head coach Chad Holbrook, junior outfielder Gene Cohn, and sophomore pitcher Clarke Schmidt. Coach, an opening statement.
Well, it's obviously an exciting time for our players, our program. We open up NCAA tournament play tomorrow, obviously, and it's kind of a goal of ours each and every year to make the field, and to be able to host is certainly an extra bonus for us. We've had a good week of practice. We know this regional is an extremely challenging one for us. We'll have a big-time challenge tomorrow night, obviously, with Rhode Island. And we tried like crazy to work hard this week and get some reps in and to position ourselves to play our best baseball of the season. Those that play their best tend to move on. And obviously, nothing's going to be handed to you in the NCAA tournament. You got to go out and win it. You got to play better than your opponent. And that's what we're going to have to do against a very talented field this weekend. I think this regional is very good. It's very deep. Heard nothing but great things about the teams that are here, and certainly we're going to have our work cut out for us. But it's exciting for our players to get cranked up tomorrow. Looking forward to giving the ball to Clarke, and our players are excited about playing.
Questions? Please raise your hand.
Chad, have you thought any more about maybe putting TJ in just at the top of the order, and thought any more about kind of how the lineup will shake out?
Well, I'll be honest with you. We've been a little bit banged up. We've had a couple injuries in the last week in practice, and Jonah's hadn't practiced the last 2 days and nursing a sore back, and DC's got a little bit of a finger issue, and so we've been a little bit banged up, and so I'm going to hesitate to say, and I'm just going to automatically put him in there because I don't really know who's going to be available tomorrow. I just want to make sure of that, but he's obviously had a great week of practice. I like the idea of putting TJ in there versus a left-handed pitcher. Obviously, I like the idea of putting him in there no matter what. He gives us an opportunity to score in a lot of different ways. But that being said, I'm not quite ready to name the starting lineup yet, but he's certainly going to, I hope, have a big impact on this regional.
Chad, the other day you were just getting to the product of knowing that you had Rhode Island on the docket. What have you learned over the past few days?
Well, I learned that the kid that we're facing tomorrow night is 12-1 for a reason, and watching video on him, he's very impressive. He would do very, very well in the SEC on a weekend basis. I mean, he's going to be no different. I told our team today, this is no different than a Friday night game in the SEC, and we're going to have to treat it as such. So he's very, very talented. He got a good arm, got great off-speed pitches. He throws strikes, and not many people's hit him since about February. So we got our work cut out for us, but hopefully we'll be prepared, and we'll have some good quality at bats against him and try to put as much pressure on him as we can.
This is for Chad and the players. Just how big is it to be able to keep this building open and going with baseball for another week?
Go ahead, Clarke. You can start us off.
I mean, yeah, this is it's fun when you get to play at home, especially in an atmosphere when you've been playing in the weekends series here in the SEC. It's kind of shows you a little bit what's going to be like in the postseason. I don't know what to expect here. I've never personally played here in the postseason, but I've been here for some postseason games to watch watch our team play and other teams, and the atmosphere is like none other. We know what to expect coming in here. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be high tension. I don't know if they've ever played in front of 8,000 fans, and we've done it at week in and week out. So it kind of gives us a little bit of advantage, I like to think, and we're really excited and we're ready to get out there. And we know it's going to be – we're not going to take it off just because they're not in the SEC. We're going to treat it just like any other SEC weekend series.
Clarke, staying with you, going here in the back, Clarke, staying with you, going into your start tomorrow, what's sort of the emotions like for you, how you got to manage that adrenaline, especially saying you've never pitched in a postseason game before and this is your first opportunity?
You just got to manage it like every other outing I've done. I mean, you got to go out there and try to attack the hitters like I do and throw a lot of strikes and don't give them anything free. And if I do that, then I'll be able to manage my start pretty well. I want to go deep in the game. I want to help our bullpen out, especially that's what you got to do when you're starting off a regional. I'm trying to go 8 innings, 7 innings, and I want to go out there and give our team a chance to win. I know I'm facing a good pitcher, so you got to keep the runs at bay and try to hold them as much as you can. And you can't really take it as any other feeling. You got to manage your emotions because you got to treat it like any other Friday night start you have in the SEC with high tensions and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm gonna keep my adrenaline at bay and try to manage my emotions as much as I can.
guys have been no stranger to top-notch pitching coming to the SEC. Just what's y'all's mentality going against a guy that you know is going to be able to pitch well?
Well, like Clark and Coach have been saying, this guy's very good, and like I tell you guys every week when I come in here, you gotta keep the intensity up, and you gotta compete in there every single pitch, and you gotta be the aggressor, and try not to let him get ahead in the count too often, and get the barrel out on some baseballs and drive around the park.
Coach, is there a sense that, you know, this is where this team's supposed to be, as far as, you know, last year you guys didn't make the tournament, but this year, you know, back in it, back at home, just is there that sense that kind of all is right with the world?
Well, you know, we tried not to focus on what happened last year. This team has been committed from the first day of practice in September to get us back to this point. They've worked extremely hard to get here. We've played some good baseball over the course of time against some really good competition. And obviously they know at South Carolina that postseason play is the norm. And it's not an inconsistent thing. We're counting on being in the postseason on a consistent basis. So it does feel good to get back to this point. That doesn't guarantee us success this weekend. We need to go out and play. But based on kind of what did occur last year, this team has kind of bought in with the attitude of, hey, this isn't going to happen again. We need to play our best baseball and get this program back to where it belongs and where it's been. And now everybody's 0-0, and you know, you're 5 straight wins away from the College World Series. So everybody's on equal ground now. And you keep playing if you play well, and you keep winning. And our players understand that. I'm proud of them from getting to this point, and I'm going to be proud of them no matter what. But I have a good feeling they're going to play some great baseball, and they're certainly going to take that.
Coach, a lot of your players have never played in the postseason. What do you tell these guys to get them ready to be on a stage like this here at home?
Well, it's the same sport we've been playing all year. Nothing in regards to the game is going to change. Obviously, the stakes are higher, but that, in essence, that's about it. You're playing great opponents, which we've done all year, and your season's on the line each and every game, and that's the only difference. But as far as what we've tried to do, throw strikes, play defense, pitch well, compete in the batter's box, get our bunts down, all those things, it's going to stay the same. So I've just told them that they're prepared based on the competition that they've played up to this point. There's a lot of pressure on these kids in SEC play as well, and not much is going to change. And we're just going to treat it like a typical weekend when there's a lot on the line. And we've been in that mode now since March. So we'll try to keep doing what we're doing and understand that you know, the stakes are a little bit higher, obviously, and let's execute the best we can and see if we can find a way to keep playing another day.
Coach, you know, you talk about the kids having pressure and how they have to handle it when they're out there on the field. Do you feel the weight at all in trying to get this team to play well in the postseason, just given the last couple of years missed the postseason and got knocked out in the regionals?
You know, there's pressure every, you know, for a coaching staff at South Carolina. There's pressure each and every day. I mean, it's not it's nothing new. You know, honestly, you know, I feel relieved in a sense that we're back, we're here, they've played well. Now let's take a deep breath, relax, and go play our best baseball. And that's kind of, I want to have I told the players today, I want them to have fun, I want them to enjoy the moment. I'm going to try to do the same thing, and let's give it our best shot, and see if we can play better than the team that we're playing against on that particular day. And if we do, we'll keep playing for a while. If we don't, it'll be tough. But that's part of NCAA postseason play. We feel great about being here. Now let's relax and go play.
Can you expand a little bit on DC and Jonah and how likely they are to play, and then who might replace them if they can't go?
DC swung the bat fine today. He looked fine. He just got a sore finger fielding the ground ball, you know, bent back his fingernail and is extremely sore. Jonah is just back he has some back spasms, muscle strain, and those are day to day. You know, to see how he feels tomorrow. You know, one of those deals where he might feel great this afternoon and he might wake up in the morning and not feel well. So there's a lot I don't know. But I'm hopeful he'll be able to play tomorrow.
just after the way last season ended, do you gain an extra level of appreciation for being able to keep college baseball going here in the city of Columbia for another week?
I'm just happy for these players. It's not this is their own team. This is our team this year, and they've played well on their own merit and gotten us to this point. I feel great. It's a great accomplishment to be able to host a regional, no matter what year, and no matter if you've hosted for 10 years in a row or it's your first year. It's a great accomplishment for this team and these players. It's not easy to host when you play in the SEC. It's not easy to host no matter what league you play in, but you can take some lumps and when you play in the SEC. So to keep our head above water, to win 20 games in the league and to win 42 overall and have a chance to play at home, it's a great accomplishment for our players. I'm proud of them for accomplishing that. And but we're going to try to play at home as long as we can. Obviously we've played very well here. I guess we're 30-4 on the year here, and we're comfortable here, and we tend to play well, and our fans get in the game, and it'll be great. But the fact that we're playing at home doesn't guarantee us anything, and our players got to remember that. You got to go out and win, and you got to play well. It's not going to just happen because we're playing at Founders Park. We learned that a couple years ago.
For Gene and for Coach, when you guys look at Wilson, their starter on film, I mean, what kind of pitches does he lean on the most, and what do you think has made him so effective on this run he's been on?
Well, one, he and I'll let Gene hadn't seen too much of him. We hadn't shared too much with the players yet. We usually do that on game day, but he's gone about it a couple different ways. He can beat you with his fastball, and he's done that in a time or two in the starts that we've seen. But he's also got a very good changeup and a good breaking ball. The kid's he's a legitimate SEC type, All-American type pitcher. And he's gone about getting people out in different ways because he's versatile. So we really don't know which guy we'll see tomorrow. We got to be prepared for, fastball guy. We got to be prepared for all-speed pitches. I mean, we got to be prepared for everything. And because the kid, he can throw a lot of different things at us. But he throws strikes, and we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to try to swing the bat. I mean, we're not going to sit around and wait on a 3-run homer. The kid's too good for that. So, but we'll battle and compete and see where we stand. And that's the neat thing about NCAA tournament play is we're not the only ones facing a great pitcher tomorrow night. There's a lot of teams across the country in the same boat as we are. And there's a lot of good teams out there. And most teams got a guy that can stuff you. And Rhode Island does, and we got a great challenge in front of us.
Matt and then Joe.
Gene, kind of along those same lines, what are some of the challenges being a left-handed hitter of facing a really good left-handed pitcher?
Well, like Coach said, I haven't really seen much on this guy, but you just got to stay disciplined and you got to let the ball get there. You can't you can't cheat, you can't pull off the ball. You just got, you got to try to treat it like a righty or any pitcher really. You just got to have the same approach.
For either player, Coach talked about the excitement and enjoying the experience. Talk us through today what it was like at practice and the excitement level going into tomorrow.
Me? Yeah, it's great, Hosting a regional is a big deal. Everybody's having a good time today, stretching, laughing, having a good time. But we had a good week of practice, and I think we're ready to go tomorrow.
Clarke, with all this talk about Rhode Island's pitcher, does it kind of put a chip on your shoulder, especially as the number one overall seed in the regional? Does that kind of give you any added momentum going into tomorrow night?
Yeah, I like to typically pitch with a chip on my shoulder every time I go out there. I like to think that you can't give them an advantage and you can't show that you're afraid of any team. And I've never gone into a start fearing any hitter or fearing any pitcher. My typical mentality is to go out there and attack every hitter that I can, and I'm just going to get everyone out and try to go deep in the games and keep my team in it to win. So seeing all the recognition he's getting, it doesn't really faze me at all. I like to keep my head straight and don't try not to rock the boat and just keep my head on and focus on the main things I need to focus on and don't rock the water.
Clarke, obviously going 0-2 in the SEC tournament isn't what you guys had planned on, but maybe the early exit, having a little bit more time, did that help you or the staff out at all?
Yeah, you never want to go into in the SEC tournament. We didn't want to. It's not like we went in there saying, "Hey, we're going to roll over and try to get out of here as quick as we can." We wanted to win just as bad as anyone else did. That being said, it didn't go the way we wanted it to, but I mean, coming home early it kind of does give you a little bit of edge. We had a great week of preparation, and we had a couple extra practices, and we were doing 2 days, so I mean, we were really getting after it, and especially for the pitchers, you get to rest your arm a couple of days, and that it goes unspoken about how many how much it helps you. I mean, you don't really know how, when you're this deep into a season, you've thrown so many innings, these pitchers' arms, it starts to get a little tired, and when you get an extra day of rest, you'll take it as quick as anyone else would. So when you get an extra day of rest, and these pitchers, they get to prepare a little bit more, and you get to focus on Rhode Island a little bit more, and you see the team who you're facing, you get to check out their lineup, and you get to go through and get their scouting reports a little bit longer. So, I mean, it definitely helps.
Chad, I think at some point, you were thinking Wilmington might come down here for a regular season series this year. Just kind of curious what you were thinking when the draw came out, and especially with the way they're hitting this year.
Oh, they're an outstanding team, and I think the world of Mark Scalf and Randy Hood, Matt Williams, their coaching staff, they've been good for a long period of time and been consistent in playing in regionals, and they got outstanding players. And we've known from the get-go they're one of the best teams in this region, and highly deserving of all the accomplishments and the rankings and RPIs and all that stuff they've earned. So it's I mean, there's no guarantee we'll play them. Obviously, we got to play well, and they have to play well. But they're an outstanding team, very, very talented. They can beat you in a number of different ways. They hit a lot of home runs, obviously. And I think they got a guy leading the nation in home runs, but they can run as well. They're athletic. They're very well coached. They're an outstanding team. And obviously, if we do play each other, it's going to be a heck of a game and a tough challenge for us. But that being said, we have the utmost respect for all the teams in this regional. I've known Mark a lot longer just because of we've just worked in the same area and we've recruited against them and that sort of thing. We have the utmost respect for them.
Clarke, did you tweak anything or do anything different this week or mechanic-wise or anything like that, kind of getting ready? I was thinking Chad maybe said that you changed something a little bit. I can't remember.
I mean, I didn't say I'd changed my whole mechanics, but I mean, I worked on staying on top of the ball a little bit better. I feel like in my last 2 starts, I talked with Coach Myers about it, and I was pulling off a few more pitches than I need to, and I usually was in the beginning of the season. So we went back and watched a lot of film, and then we broke down my mechanics, and we worked on staying on top of the balls and in my flat grounds and short boxes and bullpens. I felt like I had a really, really good week of preparation this week. I mean, I've probably thrown the best bullpens I've thrown all year just because I was getting back into that mindset, and like I was beginning of the year saying, hey, you need to stay on top of these pitches, because when you're going through the week in and week out and you're throwing so many innings, you kind of just go out there and you're throwing, and sometimes when you get this deep in a season you kind of forget about the basics and going back out there like you were in the beginning of the season. So I think this is real good. It's just a new season, all stats are cleared when you go out here for the postseason, so I'm ready to get after it.
Coach, obviously you've been here a few times before under Tanner, and then obviously coaching this squad. But what does it take to get through a weekend like this, where it's double elimination? You could be playing all the way to Monday, but what does it really take from your guys to get through this weekend?
Well, you have to play well. You have to compete. You have to handle adversity the right way, because there's going to be some difficult moments. There might come a moment in time where an at-bat here or a defensive play here, our season's on the line. And you got to be good enough to handle it and be good enough to have a great at-bat or make a big-time play on defense. There's a lot of things that go into it. But generally speaking, if the team that minimizes the free bases via the walk, errors, overthrowing cutoff men, those sort of things, makes the opponent earn everything that they get. If you do that at a high level and you pitch well, you're certainly going to have your chance to win. Your fair share of games this weekend, but you got to play well because you're playing a great opponent, and runs could be at a premium tomorrow night with the kid that we're facing. So you're gonna have to execute, and so it's just it's great. It's an NCAA tournament play. All the teams are very, very good for making it this far. Now you have to go play better than your opponent, and when the season's on the line, you have to be at your best. That's just the nature of the NCAA tournament. That's just what it's all about, and if we're at our best when our season's on the line, we got a darn good chance. If we're not, and our opponent's better than us when our season's on the line, we won't go as long as we want. That's just how it goes. And but it's fun to be a part of it. It's an honor to be a part of it. And hopefully we're in a spot where we can go play very, very well. It's going to take that against the opponents that we're playing.